الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله الله أكبر.
One might easily argue that within the animal kingdom, power is truly everything. So if I am strong and can kill others to establish my rule, then I am undeniably powerful in that specific context. In fact, history shows that Hitler fought his entire war based on this very foundation of thought. He believed that they were powerful, the world's most intelligent nation, and that they possessed the inherent right to rule over the entire world and all of its people. He successfully fooled a highly literate nation by repeatedly telling them that only the German people possessed the exclusive right to rule the world, convincing them that they were superior to every other race and nation. Because they were educated, tall, and fair-skinned, he used Darwin's theory to support claims that they were special ones who had fully evolved into a superior human race. That the final superior race destined to emerge from evolution is us, while all others are lagging far behind and have not yet fully developed into proper human beings like us. Meaning they aren't as advanced. Using a warped view of Darwinian science, he argued that just as humans have a natural right to rule over monkeys, they could rule others. Therefore, those who are not yet fully human or not of our high quality have absolutely no right to rule over us. Rather, we will be the ones ruling them because our superior nature demands that we take the lead. He slaughtered millions of people and never lost a single debate. He only eventually backed down through brute force when Russia finally dealt a massive and crushing blow to his entire regime. Finally, he died by committing suicide in the end. You see, my dear brother, virtually anything in this world can be debated or justified using some form of human logic and reasoning. So for you and for me, there is absolutely no standard to follow other than Islam. I was giving an example. These scholars who speak, some often favor men's rights far too much, while others overstep regarding women's rights. They say that in a woman's home, I was once asked a very specific question. Is washing dishes for a woman or a young girl actually mandatory, obligatory or not? If I had answered with a simple yes or no, that yes it is or no it isn't, objections would be raised either way. What kind of objections would be raised? When I receive a case exactly like that and a lady asks me, is it really my religious duty to wash all the dishes at home every single day of the week? Am I just a maid? I then say to her in response, well, is your husband a professional chef or a servant then? Who brings eggs or yogurt from the market? Whose job is it to run all these errands? In big houses in areas like Defense or Clifton, that is always a chef's job, right? It is clearly the job of the domestic staff, right? What do you think about that, brother? It is generally a servant's job to go out and fetch things like eggs, butter, and yogurt. Someone shouts, bring hot eggs. Man, because I am so famous now, I find that I cannot really do anything freely anymore. I really wish I could just live a normal life and be free. Sometimes take a train ride to Lahore or perhaps Peshawar, maybe not Quetta, God forgive me for saying so, but definitely to Peshawar. I really don't know if we would ever actually reach Quetta or not reach there. The thing is, your mental resilience builds up on trains because if the train is scheduled for 6, as a necessary precaution, you always arrive at the station much earlier than needed. We arrived at 5:30 and then you just have to make your mind up right there. I once took my entire family on a trip, having taken them with me. We actually offered all 5 daily prayers at that station, alhamdulillah. When it finally begins to move, you feel a sense of relief. For 2 short minutes, then it suddenly stops again. Regardless, one still enjoys that kind of travel. Then when it stops at a station, you hear these unique and very lively sounds. Hot eggs, crispy papads, such lively calls. Get your juice here, juice. There are such lively calls from the vendors. And that absolutely terrible food you get at the station is something that we will never ever be able to forget for as long as we live. Ever forget it. Well, God graciously spared our lives. Otherwise, one surely should have died after eating that terrible food. Anyway, getting back to the point. So now it is the husband's job to bring essential things from outside like eggs. Now consider the lady who asks, is it really my duty to do things like wash the dishes? To wash dishes? Is it my duty to mop the entire house? Am I a maid? I say, is your husband a chef you have hired? Is he just a servant who brings eggs home to you? If they say, no sir, we have servants for all the household chores, then I ask, who brings yogurt from outside? Go ahead and say it out loud. It is the servant. It is the servant. And who brings the milk for the house? Go on, say it, my friend. It is the servant who performs all these tasks for your wealthy family. Look, we belong to very wealthy families. Then I say to them, it is perfectly fine if you have servants and helpers to do all the chores around the house because of your high social standing. If your family is of such a high status that hired maids handle the housework, then it's fine. But if you are from a normal middle class family, a more modest background, or a home family, a modest background, or a poor home, then the poor simply don't have servants. For them, the man does all the heavy work outside the house to support the entire family. And who does the chores inside the house? Go ahead and say it, the women. Just as a man doesn't suddenly become a peon or a servant just by working outside the home, music, similarly, a woman living and working in the house doesn't lose her status, doesn't become a maid by mopping or washing dishes. Work is something everyone must do together. How should everyone work? Collectively. Now, one way was to assign all the outside chores to the woman and assign all the chores that need doing inside the house to the men. Is that a better arrangement? Islam says that a woman should ideally remain within the four walls of her home for her own protection and to manage the household affairs properly. This is the division established by the Prophet, peace be upon him. Chores outside are the man's duty. By working outside, he doesn't become a servant or a mere worker for others or an employee. He still remains the head of the household. Chores inside the house are the woman's responsibility. Now you will have to do all the household chores yourself. That includes cleaning the washroom, mopping the floors, and washing the dishes. So by doing all these tasks, God forbid, a woman doesn't become a lowly scavenger. She would only be that if she went to others' homes and, God forbid, may Allah forgive, cleaned their sewers. People usually do their own housework. Does cleaning your own washroom really make you a servant? Honestly, what has happened to you people to think in such a strange way? What exactly would you become by cleaning your own home and washing your own dishes? By cooking your own meals, do you think you suddenly lose your dignity and status? Will you just become a chef? Look, if a woman is changing her own child's diapers or looking after their needs, does that make her a nanny? Of course not. It is motherhood. Mopping her own home or washing her own dishes, unless you are from an elite landlord family where that is not the custom at all, then that is a completely different situation altogether. Scholars have written that if a woman comes from a very wealthy family where all the chores are handled solely by servants, she might not be expected to perform such tasks herself. There are certain elite families where women do not do manual labor. For instance, just take the Saudi Arabian royal family as a clear example. The king's wife isn't going to be mopping floors and they have dozens of servants available there. Do you understand what I'm saying or not? In those cases, neither the men nor the women do any housework, but such people are quite rare in the general population compared to the vast majority of normal working people. Most people are from middle class or poor families, and the long-standing custom is who works outside? The man does. And who handles all the various household chores? The wife. Who will do them? The woman. So she does that and you work outside. You can't just say, am I a servant that I should go out and work? Just as she shouldn't feel like a servant and get 6 eggs from the shop. Then the wife says, who is having breakfast? Brother, how will we eat then? You have to do it because it's your job to provide. Just like no one ever asked on the media, are outdoor tasks exclusively the man's duty? All questions are about women. Do you see the media's mischief and how they try to stir up trouble? Is housework really considered mandatory for the woman to do? Just to hear the answer no, so women cheer, yes, Islam gave us so much freedom. Islam gave no such freedom. It is not a strange religion that ignores the practical realities of life, that doesn't divide chores, allowing people to enjoy a free ride without having any responsibilities. Islam doesn't give a free ride to anyone. Islam says fulfill your duty, then get rights. No duty, no rights. If a man fails his basic duty, Islam gives the woman the right to annul the marriage entirely. If the man doesn't provide maintenance or food, then the woman has the right to seek legal separation, can get a khula from court in such conditions where basic maintenance isn't provided. If he brings a wife home but doesn't provide eggs or flour or even the money for flour, then he is failing in his most fundamental duties as a husband and provider. Then he isn't even fulfilling basic maintenance, right? So, would she still be obliged to obey him? No, definitely not. Once you fulfill basic rights, then mutual respect and responsibilities come into play. Rights come into play. If basic rights aren't met, there are no rights at all, my brother. So understand this point very clearly and keep it in your mind for the future very clearly. This specific example I just gave is really about how you should deliver your message to others. This is a vital skill. I was once asked, is a woman required to wash the dishes? Had I immediately said yes, it's mandatory, it would have caused an uproar like, is she just a dishwasher? Is the purpose of marriage only for getting dishes done? But if I had said it's not mandatory, it would have caused a different set of problems entirely. Then those women who wash dishes at home while their husbands work hard outside, living a good life together, might have simply stopped doing them and disrupted the household peace. So that is why I gave the answer I did. I have already provided the response that balances both sides of the issue without causing unnecessary conflict in the family or society. Look, it is not just about washing dishes or mopping the floor. The point is that responsibilities are divided. Outdoor chores are the man's duty to handle for the family. If the street outside the house needs sweeping, the man is the one who will sweep it. If the pavement outside the house needs to be swept, who will do it? The man. If it needs to be mopped, who will do it? The man will do it because it falls under his responsibility. Do you understand the point? That man will do it. Rafi Bhai has been mopping, hasn't he? For so long he washed the mosque stairs. So this isn't, God forbid, some lowly task to perform. Servant role. Rafi Bhai is very happy with this. Nowadays, just one request to him. Please ask the questions briefly. When he gets the mic, the question gets so long that people say it's enough. It has even appeared in the comments below. From now on, bring a summary of the question and please do not ask every single week during the session. Skip for 2 or 4 weeks. No, it is a problem because then the people who have traveled from afar lose out on their chance to ask. It happens. No, it definitely still happens. They say that what they wanted to ask was left out. Anyway, explaining things to Rafi Bhai is like fitting a camel into a rickshaw. I'm joking. It's just informality. It is really just a matter of informality between us. Yes. Inshallah, we will continue like this. Inshallah, absolutely not all at once. I will finish at 35 so that many people don't suddenly miss their prayer. No, they will miss it. They'll miss it. Last time, we finished the sermon at 40. Today, we will finish at 35. Let's move back 5 minutes at a time. Otherwise, people suddenly get stuck, right? People will suddenly miss their prayers if we continue. I will just wrap things up and finish now. So I was telling you that we must be very careful with our time here. The barrier that exists, you see, the barrier between scholars and the public, all preachers should be mindful of this and work hard to bridge that specific gap between them. A common person shouldn't feel dread toward the preacher. What shouldn't they feel? They shouldn't feel intimidated or alienated by the one giving dawah. What is dread? It's a difficult word to explain. Intimacy and dread are opposites. What is the true opposite of intimacy? It is this feeling of dread that I am talking about. What is intimacy? It is like finding a long-lost friend after many years. What joy that brings. But if a total stranger suddenly joins your private gathering, you can no longer joke freely and you stop all the casual conversation you were having because you feel a little bit of hesitation and discomfort toward that person who is unknown. Dread toward that stranger. Do you understand the point? When it is an unwanted marriage, what happens? There is a very profound and deep sense of dread felt. The poor girl hadn't seen the groom at all. She was only told that he was very noble, handsome and smart. They didn't even bother to show her a single photo of him at any point. And suddenly, a man with huge mustaches, unkempt armpit hair, and a belly sticking out, a massive pot belly. His noble hips are spread wide, and although he has naturally white hair, he has dyed it pitch black to try and look younger, though it really does not work for him. Now, whatever that poor girl feels toward the groom in that moment, that is exactly what is called dread. It is called washat in our language, a deep discomfort. And she is also absolutely terrified that he might actually come close to her. I mean, he looks so repulsive just sitting there. And unfortunately, these kinds of situations really do happen. Sometimes marriage happens without any warning. And the poor soul goes into a total state of shock, like what just happened to me. But that was in the past. It doesn't happen anymore in the same way. So now let me just finish the joke I was telling you before we wrap everything up for today's session.